Hello everyone. Hi, welcome to the live today on skin foods. And I wanted to start out by saying that everybody seems to think that skin is an issue which is always looked at in isolation, but skin should be looked at in totality. That is it should be looked at into like for your whole body, looked at all your organs, which TCM does, traditional Chinese medicine does. So we're looking at uh, all the health of your organs when skin is concerned, as far as skin is concerned. And I'm going to get down to all your questions. For starters, let's start with your kidneys. Your kidneys are your filtration unit. Okay, so they are supposed to act with the fluid response of the body. Then your liver is a detoxifying unit, which is supposed to process the blood of your body and also activate circulation. Your heart controls all the blood vessels on your skin, on the face specifically. So it goes to show the condition of the heart. Okay, how your skin color is, for example, shows the condition of your heart. Your gut controls the digestion and also controls the insulin response. Sorry, not the insulin response, the inflammation response. So that's a very important aspect to also consider. That is your tummy, your spleen, pancreas. Your spleen, pancreas control the insulin response. That's another thing to take into consideration when it comes to skin. Your gut is also responsible for gut bugs, which I keep talking about in all my posts on fermentation that I do, and when I'm trying to educate you about gut health. So it's very important to keep those gut bugs fed. So that's another important part to consider. Then your lungs are responsible for the fluid between your tissues. Okay, so your lung health is extremely important in keeping your skin good. Okay, so that pretty much sums up your organs. So if you're not going to address how the body works and how your organs work, you can pretty much forget having great skin. Okay, everybody asks me these one line questions like, I have acne, but they're not looking at the total response of the body. Someone will say, I have a pallid skin color, but you're not looking at how your body is working together as a unit to give you, if your blood condition is clean, that is, your pH is balanced, then, and we're getting into how that's going to happen to you, you're automatically going to have great skin. Okay, because just remember, if your acidic load is high, that is, the foods are creating a lot of acidity in your blood condition and your acid alkaline balance is off, then unfortunately your glucose goes from being good for you to being reactive. Okay, so that's not going to help you in any which way. So you're supposed to make sure that when you're the foods that you're eating is keeping your blood condition so healthy and your pH so balanced. Hello everybody, thanks for joining. That you're gonna, the outward manifestation, which is your skin, it starts breathing and showing what you are on the inside. In Ayurveda we say that whatever you are on the inside, which is your digestive function, is going to show up on your skin. And if your digestive function is good and you're absorbing all the nutrients from your food and vitamins and minerals are being absorbed, then chances are that your skin's going to show it. Okay, so let's look at skin from that perspective. We have these skin clinics which are full of people coming in, women I see with acne and with pimples and all, and they're getting all these treatments done, and it's of no use because you're going to go back to the skin clinic in some time because you're not really addressing the issue which is inside. Okay, so till you don't clean up the entire system, you are not going to have great skin. Okay, so let's first address the body in its totality. So like I said, you have to fix the organs. How do you fix the organs? You have to eat right. So I'm going to get to foods, but just remember, your pH has to be balanced. You have to take care of the insulin response of the body, which gets pushed with foods which throw your insulin response of typically sugary foods do that. Not eating large gaps between meals does that. Stress will do that to you. There's a lot of reasons why your insulin response gets thrown off. So if you don't take care of your spleen and pancreas, anxiety and worries fuel the spleen and pancreas. So anyone who's overtly stressed and who has an over is or like a frog in the well situation, is going round and round with all their problems, they're in a spleen pancreas syndrome, which is the spleen pancreas are responsible are triggered by anxiety and worry. Okay, the lung is triggered by the lungs are triggered by grief and depression, and the liver is triggered by anger. So you have to also check emotionally where you stand on the emotional spectrum. The kidneys are triggered off by um, I'll address that question, Ajay, in a bit when I'm addressing question, but I'll keep it in mind. I'll note your question down about the water pH. Okay, so stay tuned. Typically, if you are also, you have to check your emotions. Like I said, your heart gets triggered by joy and happiness as opposed to sadness. So if you're not going to look at your organs and their emotional response, even that kind of throws you off. So that's the way macrobiotics, where I come from. That's the way TCM, which is what the way I look at your organs, and I look at skin, or I look at hair, is supposed to resonate or come out from, right? Good quality hair represents great quality blood condition. Okay, those are the building blocks. The other thing is that we have to start addressing foods which leave an acidic residue. Okay, so just remember, 80% of your foods have to be alkaline forming, and I'm taking down questions as well. A Garcha 18, I'll address that. 18%, 80% of your foods are alkaline forming, and 20% have to be acid forming. So when you're plant based, those foods will, that 20% comes from whole grain and legumes and lentils and beans. Okay, so you have to have this balance. And when I teach you how to eat, I always go back to that half balance clock that I draw out in all my books, where I'm teaching you how to eat, not in the extremes but in between. So not too much yin, not too much yang, but in balance. Plant-based foods are preferred, and foods that will trigger off your sugar response and will trigger off the insulin and will trigger off other stuff is dairy, white flour, sugars, processed and refined foods, too much of simple sugars, even the honey, excessive amounts of it, excessive amounts of jaggery, this all comes under that spectrum of sugars. Foods that have additives in it, foods which are not natural to the environment, which are, you're eating out of a box all the time, you're eating processed and refined way too much. These are all foods which will trigger the skin. A lot of people ask me this question about dairy, is that if we have skim milk, is it okay? Well, that's as bad as having dishwater. So, you can think about skim milk and milk, because dairy goes out of the spectrum when it comes to creating a more alkaline, balanced blood condition. Just remember, the one thing that happens if you're, like I had mentioned a little earlier, that if your acidic load is high and you don't have normal pH, unfortunately the remainder of the glucose in your system becomes reactive. So the linear glucose molecules attach itself to protein, and a process called Aegis starts, advanced glycation end products. And this is basically where all the action of the skin starts getting all ory. Think of two free flowing strings. Okay, these free flowing strings have water between them, and think of these free flowing strings as protein. Okay, now as time goes on and your sugar response goes off, these free flowing protein strings start getting attached with sugar, which are the short rungs of the ladder. Okay, so as time goes by and that insulin response keeps happening, these protein, the spaces between these two free flowing strings of protein start getting more constricted, and there's less amount of watery, the less amount of space between them, and that over time forms, starts affecting all the protein in your body. And we all know that collagen is basically a structural protein fiber. Okay, so over time what's going to happen is, when sugar attaches to protein and collagen, this destruction starts happening. Your skin starts becoming because you're destroying the collagen in your body, and therefore you're having this stiffer skin. It looks like leather. Okay, that's one reason why you have to go back and control the insulin response in your body. Okay, very important. You have to make sure that foods are not triggering your insulin response and therefore not setting off this Aegis process. And I've highlighted all the foods in the first section, which in the I've talked about all the foods which could perhaps trigger this response off. So controlling your insulin response is really important as far as skin is concerned. What are the foods you will eat to balance? Okay, for starters, you will lean towards foods that create good sugars in the body. I keep pointing towards brown rice and millets. These are the things which will create a steady supply of sugars and control your insulin response. Okay, they will not set them off too badly unless you're having a whole lot. Vegetables, definitely magnesium, because magnesium has a lot of chlorophyll in it, which is at the center of the chlorophyll is magnesium, and magnesium is going to really help you to oxygenate your cell structure and bring in all that iron, which is going to help you with the skin response. So definitely leafy greens. Okay, so that's the next group of foods I would go to. Then I would go to vegetables, anything that has carotenes in it, colored vegetables. Okay, carrots, red pumpkin, red peppers. These are all excellent for the skin. Okay, so you're going to include fruits which are colored and vegetables. So these are your major food groups. Lesser amount of meat, because that's creating an acidic load in your body. More amount of vegetables. So if you're eating, I'm just laying the base. Okay, so if you're eating a lot of meat, make sure that that becomes your side dish and you're including a lot of vegetables and greens. All right, so then you're looking at nuts and seeds, where all the good fats are coming out of. You're looking at a good quality oil to use, which is your cold pressed oil or ghee. If Indians are cooking in ghee, that's also okay. Then you're looking at things like avocado, bringing in the good quality fats. You're looking at an oily fish, perhaps, for those non-vegetarians who want to bring in omegas into their diet. You're looking at chia and flax again to bring omega-3s into your diet. You're looking at balancing your stress response, because stress is something that's going to cause a lot of things to go haywire, and it throws out your pH. Also, it also activates your gut in a negative way. So that's going to really affect your gut response. The other thing that we need to keep in mind is, and I didn't mention the small and the large intestine. So the small intestine is where all your absorption is happening, and your large intestine is where your gut bacteria are being fed with the residual fiber that's left from your food. So make sure that you have a really good gut. You're not in a leaky gut syndrome. Most people I see with skin disorders, especially the autoimmune spectrum, and who's asked me this question about psoriasis? Someone asked me a question about psoriasis. Is because the gut starts becoming less permeable, and you have stuff that leaks into your system, and this is causing a big problem with the autoimmune situation, and therefore all these eczema and psoriasis and all these autoimmune urticaria are getting triggered as far as the skin is concerned. So you're supposed to really strengthen the gut, control those tight junctions of the gut, because you have a protein which starts loosening those junctions called zonulin, and you have to start getting, and anyone and everyone who wants to read about this can read about it in the detox diet. You're supposed to tighten those gut junctions and make sure that you do not have a gut that is extra permeable, so that there's stuff leaking into your gut and you have leaky gut syndrome going on. That is one thing which can help you control your psoriasis and stuff. So another big component of what I keep talking about is fermented foods. Please make sure that you're having lactic acid bacteria fermented food. Okay, that doesn't mean you're having pickles in the Indian scenario. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about a sauerkraut, a kimchi, and these are all in the market. Hopefully, we'll get them out soon. But This is a good kanji, a good rejuvelac. I keep talking about this kombucha once in a while for sure, a kefir. These are all things out there which are going to assist you in building up the gut bacteria and keeping your ecosystem healthy. Very important for skin health. Okay, I can't stress the importance of how this the is fermented foods is a game changer when it comes to skin health. Okay, the other thing you could gravitate towards would be spirulina. So definitely adding spirulina to your diet, which is a sea algae, again high on good protein, high on chlorophyll, high on magnesium, has the ability to absorb all the negative stuff going in on an environmental front. That is something that can keep you also well fed as far as the skin is concerned. Keeping your lungs, so oxygenation, lot of plants in the house, lot of yoga in your life, lot of pranayam, lot of exposure to air which is of better quality, increasing your water intake, meditation every day. These are all things which are going to oxygenate your body and help with the oxygen uptake. So therefore your lungs are going to be better, and therefore the fluid between the tissue is going to stay healthier. So iron rich foods, and nothing like getting in leafy greens. Okay, for iron, I remember I do a big happy dollop of leafy greens all the time. The other thing that I want to stress on a little bit, and this is something that most people ignore, is paying attention to the detoxification pathways of your body and helping the detoxification pathways, especially your liver, to clear out things like toxic estrogen, especially for women, and clear out toxins. So one of the biggest food groups that could do this for you is all the cruciferous vegetables. Okay, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. These are going to really aid in detoxifying your pathways, your which aid detoxification of the unhealthy stuff that builds up in your gut, or and also in your liver, that stays in your liver. So the liver is really helped by this. And I mean, that's basically it. You've got to make sure that coming to all your questions, your skin is whether it's got if it's throwing up an acne, it's a sign that you're either pushing too much of dairy, cheese, or you're either pushing too much of sugars. If it's a red acne, then it shows it's either too much of sugars or fruit, or coffees and teas. And if it's a white acne with a head, then it's showing that you're pushing too much of dairy, cheese, because the discharge of it is that color. So you have to go back with acne to the foods you're eating. Okay, if you question the foods you're eating and start cutting out those foods and adding the foods I've told you, chances are your skin's going to breathe better, but it's going to take time. It's not going to be like a quick fix that you can go to the facial salon and get. It's going to take its time, but it will resolve. The other thing that someone asked me was like, how do I quit sugar? I keep saying this and I'm saying this again to you. It was Agarcha, whoever that is, if you can read. You have to make sure you include a whole grain in your day, like a millet or a brown rice. If you can do that at 2 meals, chances are you'll break out of the sugar. You have to include yin, which is good quality sugars coming in from vegetables, cabbage, carrot, onions, red pumpkin, sweet potato. And you have to also include my sweet vegetable drink, which is in the IGTV video. That'll help you cut back your sugars quite a bit, okay, and help you get out of this craving cycle. The other thing is your dark circles. This was asked by NIS0915. Are a factor. One is you're pushing your kidneys, so you're in a overt adrenal response situation. Two is you're harnessing and harboring too much fear, so you've got to look at that component in your life. And three is you're probably pushing yourself with a lot of fluid, or you're pushing yourself with a lot of or there is organ fat. Okay, so these are the couple of things I've pointed you in the direction. So to rectify your dark circles, you'll have to correct all these imbalances to get to a space of balance. Okay, so that kind of completes my discussion on skin. If you guys want to shoot me questions, Just remember, sugar burns up in when the sugar goes into your body and starts processing, it burns up in the form of spots. So if you've got too many brown spots or too many age spots and you find all that is happening, it's happening because there's too much of sugar in your diet. So you need to get that out of your diet. Okay. I'm open to questions, guys. If you all have any questions, I've pretty much highlighted what you should be focusing on. There are a lot of supplements in the market. Glutathione happens to be one of them, which aids in detoxification. But like I said, supplements will not do its job if you are terribly deprived in your gut of absorption of your nutrients, and I find that happening with most people who have a skin problem. Their guts are weak. Therefore, if they cannot rectify their basic diet, then there's no point in bringing in the supplementation. Having said that, there's plenty in supplementation that you can do. There's CoQ10, there's alpha lipoic acid, there's all this stuff, but I would not do all these supplements unadministered. I would definitely go under someone like myself or another health practitioner to guide you on what to supplement with, because a lot of people are just going crazy with supplements. Yes, collagen helps, no doubt. Um, Bone broth has been known to also build collagen, and yes, there is vegan collagen powders in the market. You can try adding them, but like I say, go back to the drawing board. If your gut is not healthy and not absorbing, it's not going to absorb anything. So the first thing you should be doing is fixing your gut. Okay, fix your gut, get to absorption, get to a level where the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients are being absorbed. You will know, because things will start changing. Your tongue will get less coated, you'll be less lethargic, there'll be less allergies, there'll be less, more immunity, more, health in your body. Your gut, your bowels will be responding better. Those are the physical symptoms of it. And then you start supplementing. So supplementing would help in that situation, not right away. So that's my take on supplementation. Yeah. So any questions, guys? I'm ready for questions. Thanks for coming in today, all of you. I kind of tend to drive straight into the topic and talk about it. I think I've kind of laid the groundwork for skin health. Just remember, clearing up digestive energy is something that really supports you as far as skin health is concerned. Okay, so free up your digestive energy, be pH balanced, eat foods which nourish the gut, have minerals and enzymes that can come through a lovely greens juice in your diet every day. Make sure you're having whole grains, vegetables, legumes, a lot of fiber to feed the good gut bugs. Increase the digestive enzymes. Do that with fermented foods. That'll get you some of the biotin, which we all need for skin, hair, and nails. Include the leafy greens, which brings in iron, which brings in magnesium into your diet, which includes, I told you, spirulina, wheatgrass. That really helps. Include fruits, include essential amino acids, and make sure that your diet has oxygen rich foods and oxygen as well, which means a lot of movement, a lot of exercise, and help your gut bacteria by eating fermented foods, eating a diet which is high in fiber. This is all going to add to your skin health. Okay, anything else, guys? I'm open to questions now if you have any questions. I think I answered the question. Essential oils, you can use essential oils, Isha. No harm, but you have to make sure your quality of essential oils is really good and know why you're using them. So make sure you research that. Okay, if you have blackheads, Ayushi, it's happening because you have open pores, there's dust gathering in them. um, you have to go back to the tips I've given you. Rupali, I've given you tips on glowing skin. And Isha, you may need to go in for a little bit of a facial cleanup to remove those blackheads that you have. Is alkaline water with 9 pH great? Alkaline water is great, but that's not the only thing, Ajay, that's going to get you skin health. Okay, you'll have to go back and revisit this live when it's up on my IGTV to see how to go about it. You can add the alkaline water though; it's going to be good for you. Steam bath is great, but I don't recommend it all the time. I feel it kind of depletes you. So the benefits of a steam bath are good when you're in a winter season. It's not great in a climate like Bombay. This is for Pedal UK bathing, whoever that is. Pretty much given you all the food groups to concentrate on. I've given you the special foods to concentrate on, and I've also given you why the breakdown happens. So I think if you revisit this video, it'll help you. And thanks for joining me today, and hope to see you soon. Bye.